Hey there, video stars. It's Sarah Michelle Brown here, your virtual video director, and I'm really, really excited because today I'm bringing in a super fantastic expert who can help you navigate the land of videos and your website. And this fancy person, as you can already see, her name is Kelsey Grant, and she's a designer and problem solver for websites, right? Yes?
Yes, that's
Agreed?
that's me.
And
Yeah, yeah.
this is Kelsey. So she's over at kgrantarts.com if you want to start creeping her already and see what she's about. But Kelsey, can you say hi to everybody and tell them a bit about you, your business, your passion, your why, blah, 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 whatever you want.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for that introduction. That was lovely. Yeah, so a bit about me. I've been a designer for almost a decade. I started in print, like in newspapers, and then quickly realized that that wasn't going to be the future
Ah,
and started to shift more into the web world. The last 4 years, I've been working as a web developer. And then last year, I started my own design business, which is focused on making small or helping small businesses develop branding for websites, social media, and marketing strategies and that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, I've worked with, I mean, obviously, I've been working for almost a decade, so I've worked with big companies and small companies. But small businesses is sort of like my jam. I've really found that niche. I like working with somebody who is the business owner and being able to, help them create a brand and a website and everything that's really gonna, take them from here and raise their brand to the next level. So yeah, that's me.
I love that so much. And it's funny because so many entrepreneurs, including myself, we start off and we're DIYing everything. And, when I was creeping your website and stalking you a little bit, like in a good way, but I was, checking out your stuff and I was
Yeah.
just like, I love what you're doing. Like you're just taking the pressure off from people's shoulders, you know? It's like that thing where you feel like you have to do everything. And actually the truth is no, there's really capable, talented people like yourself out there who can go ahead
There
and
to help you.
take that pressure
Hmm.
off. That's so awesome.
Hmm.
So let
No,
me
totally. I mean, I'm as a, oh, continue,
no,
continue.
please, after you. You're the guest.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, as a small business owner myself, I mean, I know what it's like to feel like you have all of these things to do and you don't have enough time to do them. So
Yeah.
I like to be able to come in and be like, hey, all of that design, marketing stuff that maybe isn't what you just started your own business to have to do, I'll help
Yeah.
you with that. That's my thing.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I've really had this thing going through my brain. It's from the book The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and it's this thing around working from your zone of genius. And I think so many times, and I'm guilty of it too, where we find ourselves going, okay, no, I'm going to be my own social media coordinator and I'm going to now be a web designer and now I'm going to be a video director and I'm going to do this and I'm going to
Yeah.
do that. And you wear all these hats and then you forget like what you're actually really good at. And you don't work on, like, you don't spend your time on that stuff. You spend your time on the things
Hmm.
that you're not good at. That was like,
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah.
Seems like a
Yeah.
no-brainer, but I think we all are guilty of it,
Hmm.
you
It's
know?
so hard as someone who is an entrepreneur or a small business owner to be able to be like, why did I start this? Oh, I started this because I wanted to do A,
Yeah.
not A B C D E F G H I J, like all of these
The,
things.
the entire
I want to
alphabet.
try and find these people. Yeah, to it makes your
Yeah.
job easier, and it makes you more money in the long run when you can find people that can, do these little bits the best for you and improve your company. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But in the meantime, while we both help
In the
people,
meantime,
we
yeah,
like both of us, I think like we're here to talk about while you're still kind of in that DIY zone. Like for me with my video clients, I help people with DIY and then I will also do high-end videos for people where I'll take the pressure off. And I know for you, it's like, you're like, let me just take the pressure off your shoulders, please. So today,
yeah.
I think we're talking to people who are either still DIYing it or are starting to look to transition to bring in a designer and need to understand as far as how to marry together videos with your website in a way that stands out, in a way that makes sense,
Hmm.
in a way that is clever and fun and all that's great stuff. So let's dive in.
Hmm.
Okay? So Number
Yeah,
one, I've got
yeah,
some.
let's go.
All right, people, we're gonna dive in now. So I hope you have your popcorn and your notebook because Kelsey's gonna give you some really, really amazing tips. No pressure, Kelsey, about
Yeah.
making the most of your videos. So let's dive
Mhm.
in with number one. So if you could tell people what the purpose of, okay, so it sounds like a basic question, but what is the purpose of having a website? Like, in your point of view, what's the purpose of it?
Mhm. Well, I mean, I see a website as the first step in creating like your online company presence, or not necessarily company, but just like your online presence. And if you're an entrepreneur, it's the first thing that people are probably going to connect with. This in this day and age, often somebody's going to Google you before they meet you. So making sure that you've got like a website that is sort of the hub that connects all of your social media, your marketing, and even your storefront. That's what a website is to me. It's that hub that connects every other part of your business together.
Mm, that's really cool. I love that it's this hub because we have so many different avenues right now to promote ourselves, and I love that you say no. This is that's home. It's the hub of the action.
Mm-hmm,
Okay,
mm-hmm.
okay. It's funny that it makes me wonder, like, as far as, you said that this is for you, this is your hub. This is where you put your stuff and where you shine. So how do you see it as being helpful in helping you to strut your stuff and show people who you are? Like, I think a lot of people just like they take the courses that say, okay, so have a homepage and have a, work with me page and have a blah, blah, blah. And there's a recipe and it's all very technical. But as far as the stuff you can't really touch and you can't really learn in that type of a way, what do you think the website can also do as outside of like just like work with me and blah, blah, blah?
Well, I mean, I think like it's telling your story in a lot of ways. I mean, it's you lots of people, you probably got like 3 or 4 other social media accounts. You're also maybe posting ads and stuff like that. And in a lot of those social media accounts, you can only kind of like give a really narrow view of yourself, or in an ad like you only get a line or two to explain yourself. So the website, it's more than just like work with me. It's like, why is this website here? Why did I create this website? Why do I have this business? That's what you can do with your website, is be like, this is why this exists. It's not just like, oh, come here and buy this thing. Oh, come here and work with me. It's like, why is it important? Why am I passionate enough to have spent the time and create this website? Like, what is the purpose of it? You have like, I mean, I would see a website is like, you kind of have like an infinite amount of space and time that you can create things. So it's really sort of the pinnacle of your online presence. In social media, you're limited to, tweets, you can only have so many characters. Instagram, you only get a photo, but your website, you can do anything. So that's a
Yeah.
really cool thing. That's why I like designing them, is because each one can be different.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
funny. I think of like if a website, if you were only allowed to have like 140 characters on each page, like that would be so lame.
Yeah. 140 characters, one page. It has to be a square, one photo. Yeah.
Wow. No, I love that. I think it's a great way to put it into perspective.
Mhm.
So within this story and within your hub, how do you see videos fitting in? Like, why should people use videos on their website?
Well, videos are like the newest, coolest thing for 2017. Like, that is, by the end of 2017, you will see lots of people using more videos on their websites. I mean, over the last couple of years, it's like, phones and tablets and and desktops, everything's been getting faster, and being able to view video on the web has just gotten better and better and better. And it's allowed all these opportunities to create really cool video content that you didn't have, 2 or 3 years ago. The other thing is nobody reads anymore. I mean, even in the 4 years that I have been developing websites, it's like website content went from, you have a paragraph on your homepage to a 2-sentence tagline, and now it's even less. Now it's like everyone just wants a 30-second or minute video to watch. And it makes sense, because I mean, you can even get a lot more out of a 1 to 2 minute video than you ever could out of just a paragraph or 2 sentences of text. So, yeah, I mean, having a great video as like the first thing on your web page is going to be the best thing to sort of like introduce people to, again, why is this website here? Why does it exist? Why is this company here?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. There's something about, even just like a 10-second video, because you're giving people a real shot, at least even a quick glimpse of who you are and what it's like to work with you
Hmm.
and how competent you come across and things like that. I think that's really cool.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
especially like in my industry, I work with so many people that I don't meet face to face anymore. Like I work with a lot of people all across Canada, so I don't get to meet them in person. It's all, email exchange and everything like that. So being able to have a video where you're like, oh, I feel like I actually got to talk to that person.
Yeah.
I hear their voice, I see what they look like. That makes a big difference as far as like feeling like you can be comfortable with that person too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how things are changing so quickly. So
Yeah, it's really exciting.
it's exciting. I agree. Now, as far as um, like when it comes to videos, how do you see them as a tool to tell your website story?
Mhm. Well, like making great video content, it's just a great way to educate your customer about either who you are or about a product. Like I said, like people are far more likely to watch a video than they are to read through like an entire page of text. So, if you've got a product page, for example, you've got a
Yeah.
product page and you've got, three sections broken up into text and you've tried to make it as easily digestible as possible. If somebody sees a video, they're going to watch the video first, so they're
Yeah.
not going to be like, oh, I'd rather take 10 minutes and read all of this content. They're going to be like, no, I want to watch a video because you're going to give me all the information there. I'm maybe going to get to see the product in use, which is something you're not going to get out of reading content.
Mm.
Or, I'm going to get to hear this person talk. That's not something you're going to get about just reading content.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I mean also a video too. It's like a quicker way to sort of like direct people to other aspects of your website. So we've everyone knows what kind of like the call to actions are. You've seen that a bunch of times, the three sort of call to actions on a homepage. A video is another great way to sort of direct to that, where you can be like, hey, here's some clickable links at the end of the video that'll direct you specifically to pieces of content that you just heard me talk about. So
Mm.
now you're more willing to actually read about something because you're a little bit more engaged. You've already
Sure.
watched a video. It's easier to digest at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it can be a tool to guide them on their story, like the website story, and guide them in the way that
Mhm.
you want them to experience your story, would you say?
Yeah, like sort of set them up to I'm sure people have maybe heard it talk about like what's your website's like call to action, like what is the workflow that you want
Yeah.
somebody to take on this website. Having a video as the first thing on your website, you can set somebody up directly to do that rather
Yeah.
than I've experienced a lot of time, I design a lot of websites and I've done a lot of sort of like user testing. And it's always very interesting when somebody comes to a website first, what they click on. You're like,
Yeah.
that's not really what I wanted you to click on. I wanted you to click on this. But more often than not, like people are going to click on a video first. So rather than potentially having that loose area where maybe they missed this call to action, they clicked on something else, they're probably going to click on that video and then follow sort of that path that you want them to do.
Mm. That's so interesting. That's almost like, for lack of a better phrase right now, like a heat-seeking missile, which is a
Yeah,
terrible analogy, but it's oh,
it's grim, but
oh,
it
and
makes sense.
it's timely at the moment, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
the this idea of like showing it's like making the sparkles, making things that are dazzling and exciting for someone. And so it's like, ooh, the shiny object syndrome. That's a better analogy. Shiny object
Yeah.
syndrome. So if you think of the video as this shiny object, that whatever else is on the website isn't as attractive. So they will go and click there into the shiny object, and then you start guiding and telling that story. I like that as a tool for like focus, for grabbing their
Yeah.
focus and their attention.
Hmm.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
sure.
Yeah. It's really interesting to think of it in terms of the website, and because those of us who have DIY'd our websites so far,
Yeah.
you're just trying to get it done and that it doesn't look terrible and that it has some sort of a story, right? But it's not necessarily professionally guided, and with the knowledge and the resources that someone like you has around what works, what doesn't, and how to drive traffic over here and blah, blah, blah. I think that's a really interesting, like, quick little tip for people who have been DIYing it or who are looking to work with a designer, and like, really what focus you want people, that what their gaze should go towards, and just like, let's pop a video in here. It's a great trick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a great way to, I mean, yeah, like I said, most people are going to watch a video over read content anyways. So,
yeah,
the more of that you have, also, like, it's just going to make you look like you're up to date with the industry. Like I said, 2017, if you Google, 2017 videos, I'm sure you'll find lots of blog posts about people saying it's the newest thing.
Yeah.
So if you want to look like you're current and you're up to date, there's nothing worse than going to a website where you're like, when was the last time they updated this? So having something like a video on there, it's showing that you're like, you've got your finger to the pulse, like, what's happening. You're up to date, which is good.
Yeah. You're not a dinosaur.
Yeah, you're not a dinosaur. Yeah, you don't want that.
So let me ask you, I'm really curious to hear about this one, as far as what rookie mistakes you see people make when it comes to using videos on their websites. What do you see mistakes that people are making?
Well, I mean, it's maybe not so much of an issue anymore, but I mean, I used to see a lot of people, they're hosting their videos on their own website rather than hosting them like on YouTube or Vimeo. And I still recommend everybody to like host on YouTube and then embed back on your website. A couple reasons for that. One is it's faster. So if you're embedding a video like on your website, it really slows down your page load. And especially on mobile, which, most people's websites are viewed on mobile.
Yeah.
It's getting better, but it's still like, if it's embedded in your website, it takes forever to load.
Yeah.
So it's better to have it hosted on YouTube and then embed back. It's going to make the video play faster. I mean, YouTube is like, it's one of the best ones out there for playing videos. So let them do the hard work of like loading and playing this video and making it optimized in a bunch of browsers and a bunch of phones and a bunch of tablets.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Let them handle that. And just, you can focus on making great content.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that's a big one that I recommend for people.
Yeah.
Also, like, not making it apparent that you have a video. I've been to lots of sites where it's like people have a video about a product. I was on a website just the other day, actually, and they had this really, really great video, like, showing how their product was in use. But they linked to it as just a little text link. And so you didn't even know that there was a video at the end of it. It's kind of like says, click here for video.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, in this day and age where no one's reading anything, no one's going to just read that little link,
Yeah.
So I would far rather recommend, like, you've got a big screenshot of a video with like sort of the YouTube play button, or that very, an obvious play button. So people know, like, press this and you're going to get a video.
Yeah.
Yeah, hiding it behind sort of like a text button, people aren't going to click on that. They're not going to know that I'm going to get easy video content.
Yeah. Now, do you think they do that because they feel shy about putting the video there? So they're like, oh, I'm not going to lead with this. I feel nervous about it. Or is it just like they just don't know any better?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, some people also, it's like, if you're not a designer, maybe you don't know how to take a good screen cap. I work with people that don't know how to take a good screen cap of a video, know, or they just don't understand images, period. They're like, I don't get how to add this image to my website.
Yeah.
I know how to add a text link, and I know how to, copy and paste the link into this piece of text.
Yeah.
But, adding a link to an image, sometimes that's just that little bit of extra complicated that somebody doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Which is why you come and talk to people like me.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny
yeah.
when you said that, because I just like, my brain kind of just went, oh, right. Not everybody is a visual thinker. Like, not everybody has that instinct to go, I know I need to make this pretty, and I know I need to grab attention visually. So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, like, I am such a visual thinker. Like, I'm dyslexic, so it's also like I fight against text a lot of the time. So I'm very much a visual thinker. So I'm always thinking, like, even also, like, from a sort of a usability standpoint, like, I'm in Vancouver, there's a lot of, different cultures here and people speaking different languages all the time. One of the things I also like to think about when creating websites is, like, if English isn't their first language, how easy is this website for them to navigate? So for me as a designer, I always try to make them like intuitive and like images, like people, it doesn't really matter the language. Somebody's going to see an image and be like, oh, okay, I kind of understand what's happening here.
Sure.
And, I can watch the video and grasp a little bit more than having to read a bunch of text.
Sure.
So yeah, that's the other thing for me too, is like, visual on a website. Like I said, people just don't read anymore too. So it's like visual is a great place to be trying to focus on.
Yeah. You know what's funny? So can I dive in quick? When you were talking about the trick of loading up your videos to places like Vimeo or YouTube and then embedding them on your website so that your website isn't overblown with information. And that thing around load times, it's funny you mentioned the phone thing, because if it's a desktop, like from my desktop browser and a page is taking a long time to load, I can be very patient with it and I'll wait and I'll just go work on something else. But if it's on my phone and some website is taking forever to launch, I'm done. I will go, like, I won't look at that site. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. On your phone, it's like, they say like if your load time is like a minute, like you've lost somebody.
Yeah.
On a desktop, if your load time's a minute, yeah, maybe they'll wait it out. On a phone, it's like it has to be like 20 seconds and under.
Yeah.
Like 20 seconds, think about 20 seconds on your phone. You're like, I'm not waiting for this. Like, gone. You're done. Yeah. No, so that's especially like a lot of people too. There's statistics about like if you're just your demographic is just North America, you don't maybe have to worry about it so much. But it's like if you're trying to contact people in places like Europe or other areas of the world, a lot of them only have a phone. They don't use desktops. Like they don't have a desktop computer at home. They just have a cell phone or a tablet that they're connecting on. So if your website and videos aren't optimized for mobile, you're just never going to reach those people. So that's to think about too.
So interesting. Okay. Do you have any more rookie-ish mistakes for people?
I do have kind of one other one that I see a lot. It was sort of like a trend the last like couple of years to have that sort of like autoplay big, large video like on your whole page. And I mean, it was cool and trendy, but it's like now there's actually the trend of trying to like get away from that because they're heavy because it's like you're getting this big video. And a lot of the times, I mean, screens are so big that.
Like, are you talking about the background when the whole thing is filled with video?
Yeah, the background and there's like a video playing.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's generally really, really poor quality because it's so big.
Yeah.
They're kind of shifting away from that now because they're big, they're autoplay, and they're low quality and they take a long time to load. So like on mobile, they take a long time to load. A lot of people actually even replace it on mobile and just use an image and only use it on desktop. That's if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it really is on mobile. Don't be loading this big video, only load it on desktop.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
That's great. That's it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's really helpful actually. Cause I've seen some of the when there's a whole video as the background, and I've been very tempted, like when I was looking at my site and actually in particular with my arts website around filmmaking and stuff, I was like, ooh, there's so much I could do here, but I never kind of went down that road. I was like just the embedding looked like such a headache, and I never went down that road, but I could see the lure of having these giant video things going on.
There's definitely the way to do it right too. But I see it was so overused because it was so, like anything that becomes trendy, it becomes overused, right? And so then you see people making mistakes. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely been times where I've seen it used really well, especially for actually filmography, generally because those people, they kind of like understand, how to use a video nicely. They're not stretching it big and gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing that always gets me is when I go to a website and it's like, you've got this big grainy video and it's taking up your entire screen and there's just one line of text and you're like, okay, I've got to scroll and then the website's freezing because they've got this video and you're doing this all the way up the screen. Like, that's when I'm like, okay, this wasn't really optimized.
No, not
so
well done. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I think those are good tips, and I'm curious to hear if any of our listeners made any of these rookie mistakes. Let us know. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Just like leave a comment below and let us know if you made any of these mistakes or if you've been tempted. Because like I had my guilty confession. I was very tempted with the large screen video stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a question. We're getting to, it's more, a little more, I guess, technical, but I'm curious about when people are creating their website or they're working with a designer on a website or what have you. Where would you say is the best place, are the best places to put videos on sales pages and in your website proper?
Probably right at the top. Very, very first thing that's going to load. So yeah, like especially like if you're thinking about like on mobile and desktop and everything, like the first place it's going to load is like the right at the top of the screen. And if we kind of draw back to what I was talking about earlier about it being sort of like it's the intro paragraph to your website, like it's the first thing that you want people to view, put it right up at the top. Other great places, like once you've kind of like already got people focused and into your website, like if you have a e-commerce store, I like adding a video on the product page. So like another sort of like video about that specific product, potentially being like, this is how you can use it. Or, these are some other places that you can link to get more resources. Those are other great places.
Yeah.
And also like on an about page, having a little, your little about video about who you are and that sort of thing on there too.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, I'm playing around right now. I just went evergreen with my on-camera boot camp. Woohoo! Literally today. I was doing, I'll show you what I was doing. So I had some mishaps with my Facebook Live, but I was throwing these lovely pieces of gold confetti in the air, and then Facebook Live would quit on me. I'm like, no! I'm like, hey, I'm excited. Oh, damn it. But on that page, I'm actually playing around with, like I have a intro video at the beginning and letting people know what the boot camp is about. And then halfway down, I have another video where I've put the very first lesson for the boot camp on the sales page. Giving it a try. I don't know.
No,
do you think
like
that's
that
an interesting? Yeah, you think it's interesting?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, especially like being able to be like, hey, this is what the website about, and then here's like a little tidbit as to like this is a juicy bit. I mean, especially all of your stuff is like this sort of video content. So I think that's great to be like, here's an example actually of what you're gonna get a taste of. That's great. Yeah.
No, it's exciting. It's fun playing around with video and how to be strategic about where you put it in your site. I think it's funny. I was my sister is very fortunate in having a filmmaker sister, and she runs these retreats to Trinidad every year, and she's also working on a retreat to Tobago. And so I put together a video for her and her business partner for a trip to Tobago, a retreat in Tobago. And they were like, oh my gosh, it's so great. Thank you. La, 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 la. And then they were doing their sales page. And then they had this tiny little, it wasn't even like a proper size within the frame. It was like this tiny little version of it off to the side. Like, because they were still figuring out alignment and like all this stuff. And I'd say, sister, okay, here's first of all, you need to make it bigger. You need to move it up, honey. Like you want it to work for you. Don't.
Yeah. Tiny little video in the top bottom corner, not really the best place.
Yeah.
No.
But my sister is not. She's not. She's if I'm right brain creative, she's left brain very practical type person. So she's not that visual thinker in that type of a way. So she, it's a good balance where I could come in and go, okay, sis, you gotta go bigger. And you can
let me help you out. Yeah.
Cool. So, all right. Is there anything else about advice on where to put a video on your site? Or is that the skinny? Is that the lowdown?
Sorry?
I said, or is that the skinny? Is that the lowdown? I was just getting all cute with my language.
Yeah. No, you just cut out for a second. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's my advice, basically. All those places.
Yeah. Okay, so you hear that, people? Don't be foolish and like keep it in like the bottom, like where your legal and copyright stuff is. Don't do it.
Yeah. Well, no footer videos. If I see footer videos, I swear.
So, Thank you. This is so helpful. We've talked a little bit about a little bit about the homepage video. I'm wondering if you have any more advice around, because it's that first welcome mat to people when they arrive, to your site, if they've gone to your homepage. And I know people often visit the homepage, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of first place people are going to go to.
Yeah. So as far as any tips on that homepage video or what the purpose of it is, do you have any more insight onto, like if we're talking to somebody who's like, okay, I'm just going to have one video ever. I don't, I'm not
doing anything more. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like homepage video, what would you say the purpose of it should be for them?
I think the purpose for that, like if you're one person or like one video on your website, it should be, why does this website exist? Setting your customer or user up to do your website workflow, or setting them up to link to like whatever pages you want them to directly link to, be that like a product page or a subscribe link. If you're like a blogger and you just want to do one video and be like, okay, subscribe to me, like this is my pretty face, get to know me, and now subscribe to my link below. That just like really kind of like straightforward, like, again, why does this website exist? Who are you? And set them up to do whatever you want them to accomplish on your website.
Yeah. Yeah. So nothing, I would say it's like nothing too flowery or too obtuse, like kind of get to the point where they can make the most of that video.
Yeah. Yeah. And keep them short too. Like I mean, I'm bad even. It's like, if I see a 3-minute video, I'm probably like, nope, so like try and keep them as short as you can, because people, especially when they can see, they're like, it's going to take me 3 minutes of my life to watch this video. They might be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Right. So try and keep them short, like that 2-minute thing. That's kind of, unfortunately, our attention span nowadays. So
shrinking more and more. It's so crazy. Yeah.
Tinier and tinier, I tell you. A paragraph to 2 sentences. And now, a minute or 2 of video. That's all we can handle. Everyone is ADD.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Okay, that's really cool. And I love that tip about the length, because I know a lot of people, especially when you're beginning, like I think if you have a longer video, like coming from my perspective, a longer video needs to be like good content and designed in a way that keeps the attention going. Whereas, somebody who's just getting started doesn't really know the tricks about keeping people's attention. So shorter is definitely better. Especially if you're a newbie at this and you're just like, well, okay, I'm doing it. And like you're throwing it out there.
I'm
like,
here.
Yeah. Cause sometimes, and I know this is a fear a lot of people have, is around not being coherent and concise, that they may ramble on too much. And it is something that can happen when it comes to videos. So yeah, just always think about how you can streamline what you're saying and keep it to the point. And I love that tip about just keeping it specific to, what your purpose is for the video. I think that's really great.
Yeah. Well, and I think you kind of had a great point there too. Like, there's nothing wrong with a long video, but you kind of already have to have somebody who's interested and willing to invest that time. Like, that's when you're like, if you're thinking, I have so much to say and I know it's going to take 5 minutes to say it, that's okay. You can do that 5-minute video, but you've got to do that smaller video to try and get somebody invested, be like, okay, this is worth me investing the rest of my time in. Yeah. But a 5-minute video right away is going to just turn people off. You've got to kind of like baby steps. Everything is always about baby steps.
Yeah, it's true.
And trick somebody into being like, yes, I am interested. I'm willing to invest. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that taste and leave them wanting more and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I think the thing around the longer videos, and I've seen this many times too, is rookie mistakes for new people who are new to making videos. If they haven't had the training, such as with me, is they will essentially say enough content for like 10 videos. Mm-hmm. So they don't stay focused, and they'll make a video that covers so many different topics, and they go off and they wander, and it's like, dude, that's real estate. You could have made like 10 different videos on that instead of one long one that people are not going to watch, So I love that thing of keeping it concise.
Yeah, and even further on that point, I mean, if you have a bunch of different ideas, you can also turn, each video into a blog post. And it's like, then you can get even more traffic because you've got a blog post that you can be posting on different things too. Some people do still like to read, right?
Yeah.
I have one client, they have a bunch of like sort of tech, like informational, or not tech, but more like hands-on. They're showing you how to do a thing in a video, and they're like 10-minute long videos. And I was like, you could break these down into each step, and each step could have a little text, blurb here, and you're creating more content, which is like one of the real struggles nowadays in websites is you want to have good content. So yeah, I mean, if you've got a bunch of ideas, don't try and force it all into one. Like, having it broken up into little bits that's easier to digest is a great way to be creating really good content.
Yeah. It's funny. I made this same mistake, but in a different type of way. It was a stage play that I was writing that I eventually ended up taking to New York and Toronto and Montreal and blah, 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 and yada, yada. But the second draft of the play, when I was writing it, I started pouring in all my best writing. Like because I'd been writing for a long time, so I had snippets here and snippets there, and they could fit, and it was like poetry. It was so beautiful. So I started like, how can I make these all work in the same story? And I just like threw everything into the pot and stirred it all together. And then I had a reading, and I thought this was the best because I put everything I knew, everything that was great about my writing into this draft, and I thought, this is like the final draft. This is so good. There's so much of my good writing in here. And the reading of the play, like I brought together some friends and peers, fellow artists, and I had a reading, and they were the audience. And the reading lasted about an hour and a half, and the feedback session was about 2.5 hours. Because they were just like, you put too much in there. You need to decide what the main story is and then scrap all the rest. It's beautiful writing, but you got to just like take it out of the pot, Yeah. And it's the same thing I think with entrepreneurs is when you finally make a video, you're like, okay, I'm going to tell you everything. Like I'm just going to spill the beans on so much that I know and understand. And then it's like, oh, this is too much information. Take it out of the pot. Give it to us in digestible pieces.
Yes, digestible pieces. That is always the key thing, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so that was really helpful. Thank you for a bit of a deeper dive on that stuff, because I think that's something a lot of people just don't really know what to do with that homepage video, and they kind of, it's a shot in the dark for them. So that is really, really helpful. So I guess on the opposite end of that a little bit is how can we step outside, or do you see a way that people can step outside the box when it comes to using videos on the website? Like, for example, I had seen when I first started up doing this stuff, and I had signed up for something or other, and then there was a video on the thank you page for signing up for an opt-in, and I was like, ooh, that's clever. I like that. So, and it wasn't something that I had immediately thought of. So I'm curious if you have any suggestions on like thinking outside the box, stepping outside the box when it comes to how we use videos.
Well, one of the things that I've seen that I really like are using like cinemagraphs as sort of like an intro to a video. So for people who don't know what a cinemagraph is, it's essentially a GIF, but it's like it's more like a video. So it's like basically there's going to be a freeze frame and a small portion of it is moving. And actually, if people go to cinemagraphs.com, you'll see they've got a bunch there. And there's there's one in particular where it's got these butterflies just flapping their wings. And it's so subtle. And I love it. In this day and age where it's like, you've always got banners scrolling across the screen or something like that, and that can get annoying. Yeah. Having just like a really nice cinemagraph that's subtle, that it's just enough to draw somebody's attention there and be like, hey, what's that? And then pay attention to your content. Yeah. I think that's really, really cool. And I've seen that used, like you said, in a couple interesting places, like a thank you page. That's really cool. That's a great place to use that. And on the homepage, I think though too, that's the first thing people are going to see, and they're going to kind of like be like, oh, it hasn't been used everywhere yet either. So if you've got it, I think people are going to be like, wow, that really stands out to me. So yeah, I really like those.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I have not dived in, but I'm going to put the link for everybody down below as well. Go check it out. Let's all go check it out. It's like a field trip. Just
yeah, they're great.
And anybody who's watching too, if you've seen a great way that people have used videos outside of the box of what you thought they were supposed to be used for, leave a comment below and share the love, because I think it's really cool to build out your story. You know, as you mentioned before, the story of who you are, what your business is about, and using creative ways of putting yourself out there as far as videos are concerned is, I think it's just cool and it's innovative. I'm doing my eyebrow thing right now. They're like very excited, like, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, I have one last question for you. This time has just flown. So we have essentially kind of covered this, but I think this might be a great way to sum up what we've been talking about. In your opinion, as a web designer, and also, you know, the grander scope of the social media work that you do as well, and branding as well, how important is a video to a website these days?
Super, super important, I think. You know, if you listen to everything that we've been saying, like it is sort of the newest way to do content, you know, on a website. It's gonna, if you aren't starting to do videos, you're gonna get left behind in the next couple of years because everyone is gonna have really great video content out there. So it's really important to look like you are on top of the trends, and also I think it's one of the best ways to get people in and understanding your website. You know, it's the easiest sort of form of content to digest for many people. So super, super important to start investing the time and the energy into making great video content for sure.
Love it. So, Kelsey, before we say official goodbyes, where can people find you? I did give them your website off the top to go ahead and, you know, creep you and all that stuff while we were talking. But if you could let people know again where people can find you, and if you have any any specific things that you would like them to check out, please let them know, because, you know, they're here for a reason. They want to know about websites and videos. So give it.
Yeah. My website, kgrantarts.com, is a great place to start. Obviously, it's my hub.
Yeah.
Also, I have a lot of stuff on Instagram. Instagram, I have a little bit more interesting stuff than I have on my website. I sort of use that for, it's my whatever projects I'm working on. I'll post a little tidbit there. My website has more case studies and stuff like that. I also, you know, sometimes I'm sharing some stuff on Twitter too, so feel free to go check me out there.
Yeah.
But go to my website first. It links to all of my social media and everything. And
it's the hub.
Find everything about me. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Lovely. And do you have any opt-ins or offers or anything that you want people to know about?
I mean, you can, if you go to my website, and go to the Hire Me page, you can sign up for my newsletter, which I have little blog posts and sort of like free downloads and stuff that I give away every couple of weeks. Sort of things like how to create a budget for branding. You know, that's a tough question. Also, like, you know, how to find a designer, how to pick a designer that's going to be right for you and right for your project. So I've got things like that on my website too. So feel free to, you know, subscribe to my newsletter and get access to all that free goodies.
We love the free goodies.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, is there anything else you want to add? Anything that you comes to mind that you are like, I must talk about this?
No, I mean, I think we've covered a lot today. I hope that people have a lot of, you know, they're going to come out of watching this video and feel like they have the power to create great videos for the websites. Yeah. So that's my goal. Yeah. And I think we did it. I think we did it. Given people some information.
They've
so I'm happy.
Me too. Okay, well, since I have these out, my little gold confetti, I'm going to make a mess in here again. And just say, woo! Thank you so much on behalf of myself and all of our peeps who are watching for, now this is like all over the place, for joining us. And thank you, Kelsey, for sharing so much information. You're quite generous with what you shared with us today, and I really, really, really appreciate it. And I will put all the links to find Kelsey below, so you can go over and say hey to her over on Instagram, Twitter, on her website. Sign up for her newsletter, get those tidbits, because if you are DIYing it like I have been, and you're ready to like step it up, or you think like down the road.
If you're ready to make your life easier,
then Kelsey's your girl, your gal, your chick, exactly. Your lady. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, thank you once again, Kelsey, and thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.
And that's it. Say hello in the comments below. If you have
Great.
any questions about what we've talked about, make sure you head down and ask that question. And call to action, right? What I want you to do outside of leaving your fabulous comments and joining the party below is I want you to head on over to your website and make your own assessment of how you've been using videos on your website. And if you haven't been using videos on your website, go on over and ask yourself where you could put some videos in, okay? And really like give yourself a little assessment and then come on back and let us know, okay? And hopefully, Kelsey, if you're available and around and you see any of those comments, you can respond if anybody has questions and things like that. Yeah?
For sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I'm here to help.
And I'm gonna do one more last, woohoo! All right, guys. Have a beautiful day. And this is Sarah Michelle Brown and Kelsey Grant. And I'm signing off and saying, dream up.